Hey guys, it's Jake of Jake's Metal Chat. Hope you're all well and staying safe. Finally back with another chat. Been a while. Last guys I had on was Vansin, who played Warhorns, and I'm with someone who also played Warhorns on the same day my band played. Having told those who actually did come to Warhorns, thank you for watching my band and also this guy's band. This is Zorn of Zornheym. And how are you doing?
I'm doing very good, actually. We came back last week or something like that from our European slash Great Britain tour. So I'm trying to adjust to the normal day life after that, basically.
As you, as we all do from time to time. But how did that go for you, the tour?
It went very well, and I'm very happy with the start of the tour being Warhorns because we played there in 2019, and that was like a blast. And I think this year was even cooler, even though I got some technical issues during the gig, but I think we sorted that out pretty smoothly.
Yeah,
Uh, but I couldn't be happier being back in the UK again. And it turned out pretty damn good. And we had a blast at Warhorns and the other shows as well.
that's cool. Yeah, because on one of the dates for that tour, you played the Griffin here in Bristol. Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is why I was like, I know, wait a minute. I was like thinking to myself, wait, I'm seeing them at Warhorns, so and I'm not going to be in Bristol, so that's basically
Uh,
what I drink a lot. Go
okay.
to gigs
It was
and see bands and meet up for people and have a drink or two.
Yeah, it was a really cool bar, and I mean, the second we walked in there, they played tons of Swedish death metal. Like I think they played like In Flames and At the Gates and Dark Tranquility and that kind of stuff. So
I play
it
all
seemed,
sorts.
it seemed to be like a really cool place to hang out at.
Yeah, it's been there since 2010. Well, the building's been there for a very long time, but as
Yeah,
the
yeah,
place
it looked
itself,
very old.
yeah, it's been there for a long time. But the place itself has been there since 2010.
Okay.
I didn't go there until a year later because I only found out about it because there was a gig on. I thought the Griffin never been here before. Where is it? Up the top of the roof on a certain building. I thought, oh, I'll just go there. See what it's like, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah, yeah, and we went to this great restaurant, uh, we had to climb a lot of stairs to
A
get
lot.
there. Yeah, a lot of stairs.
Oh, wait, I think I
Uh,
know which one you went to. Is it the one just up the road, 0 degrees? Was that it?
yeah, yeah, I think that was the name. They had like oven baked pizzas
Yeah,
and
that's 0 degrees.
yeah, really good place.
Yeah, it's a really cool place in there. I've been there for food and obviously beer because they got beer.
Yeah, yeah, they
Also,
are
uh,
a brewery, right?
yeah, there's a lot of breweries in Bristol. There's one called Moore Brewery, which is a bit further on, like it's near the waterfront. I know that, and it's near the train station here in Bristol.
Ah, okay.
And there are another venue called Marble Factory, which I'll be going there in October to see municipal waste.
Ah, okay.
So
Ah,
yeah, there's a yeah, Bristol has a lot of gigs happening. I
yeah.
know that,
That's really cool.
always a lot of gigs. So the first question to ask, I usually ask guests, but I'm going to ask it a bit differently. Where did your journey into metal begin?
Like when I started playing like really metal. um, it started with me discovering Twisted Sister in my father's record collection, and I was like blown away how cool Dee Snider looked on the Stay Hungry album.
Big
And yeah, yeah, and after hearing Stay Hungry and We're Not Gonna Take It, they had me. And I mean, after that, I went from Twisted Sister and discovered bands like Bruce Springsteen and Guns N' Roses and Iron Maiden, and then I spent a couple of years in the punk scene and played some Swedish melodic punk that was really big in my hometown and in that era in Sweden as well. And after that, I heard Edge of Sanity at a classmate's um, boys' room, and he played, and he said that these guys they are actually from Finspång, my hometown,
Oh, cool.
and seeing that they had released an actual album and they played so fast. I think Dark Day from the Spectral Sorrows was the first song that I ever heard. And, it starts with this really heavy intro, the Spectral Sorrows, and then it goes into this aggressive 2-beat thingy. And I was blown away because that was like the fastest thing I have had ever heard. So I was like, and these guys are from my hometown. And then when I bought the album, my mother used to work at the supermarket, and she was like, yeah, those guys usually come in and buy their groceries.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So everything, all of a sudden I felt like you can actually come from this small town and actually release albums. And that got me really hooked and interested in forming my own band and stop playing melodic punk and start playing death metal, basically.
Yeah, well, that's cool because first time I heard Edge's Sanity would have been about, I want to say about 2008, because that's when I found out about a lot of the Swedish death metal bands. What, yeah, them, Entomb, Dismember, Grave, Unleashed, and then I found a lot more Swedish death metal bands. I love my Swedish death metal. I even got a HM2 distortion pedal because I love the Stockholm sound a lot.
Yeah.
I love that dirty, disgusting chainsaw buzzsaw. Chainsaw buzzsaw, doesn't matter what saw you name you give it, it's still heavy and disgusting.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a rocket science to to make it sound good. You just do everything on max.
Oh yeah, just stick it on. Yeah, stick it on max, and then yeah, you got to turn it all the way up. You can't have it like halfway and like it's like, oh, I can't get the sound. You got to turn it up all the way. Damn it. And going back to Edge's Sanity, because you mentioned the Spectral Sorrows, one of my favorite songs from that, which is the third track on the album, Live in Hell.
Yeah,
I love that
very
one.
cool song.
That's how it starts off. And then
Yeah,
that drum bit, that digger with the drum. It's the whole thing, just the whole on the whole album, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, after I had heard Dark Day, it goes into Live in Hell, and then they pull it up a notch after that. So then I was like, oh, you can even play even faster. This is so cool. I've never heard anything like it, and I, like you did back then, I borrowed the CD and I put it on a cassette tape, and then listen to it like all the time in my Walkman. And later, I started playing together with some other people that introduced me to dissection, and that was really life changing for me. How you could you know, incorporate almost Swedish folk music into this evil sounding music, and that it could be, you know, both evil and
And
very
melodic.
beautiful and melodic, and you could have like different a lot of different dynamics in the songs where it goes from like being super brutal to have this flowy part where there's a lot of melodies and harmonic chords and stuff like that. And that was really world opening for me as a young guitarist.
Of course. Right. Yeah, dissection mix it, like you said, mixes Swedish, folk music in it. Well, one of my favorite songs in the album as well. Great album, The Sombling.
Yeah.
Just how it starts off with the guitars is just,
yeah, it's
I'm just like, what the fuck? It's like, what's going on here? And then it just kicks in, and then it goes back to that drawing guitar bit again.
Yeah.
With his vocals over the top, and if people have heard it, you know what it sounds like. If you haven't, you've been living under a rock. Go listen to it. But there's all those great bands, and sadly, sometimes they get overlooked. So like a lot of them might get overlooked. Some Swedish bands might get overlooked quite a bit, or any band really. And like, listen to them, because you might be surprised. You might actually like something.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, it's like, well, at least you gave it a try. But then when I heard Swedish Death Metal, I was like, something just clicked in my brain. Like, I like this.
Yeah.
It's heavy, but it's very punky. Like when you hear Left Hand Path and Into the Grave and Like an Ever Flowing Stream, you still got. Well, maybe the first two albums are still a bit punky. Maybe still a little bit of punkiness to Like an Ever Flowing Stream, but that just gets overshadowed by just how fast and aggressive it is. And also, sorry, I was going to say about the punk scene in Sweden as well, because how I found out about that was from At the Gates documentary that they did around 2008. Punk scene and everything. Don't know too much about it.
And they play, the whole crustcore thingy with the Skitsystem, a really great crust band from Sweden. And I mean, that punk scene I discovered way later, like in the 2003 or something like that. And when I discovered that, I kind of realized that, this is almost more aggressive and harder than some of the black metal that I'm listening to. So I was really blown away by that. It was actually when I found that out that I formed my own crustcore band at the time that's called Aktiv Dödshjälp, and we've been like releasing stuff ever since 2003. And right now we have a couple of songs laying around that I should release, but I'm too occupied with Zornheym at the moment, and I have 2 kids at home, so only setting up interviews and stuff like that can be a bit tricky. And then at the same time trying to juggle promotion, figure out music videos and everything like that. It's I really want to release the songs that I have here, but I want to do it like properly. And I'm not gonna let that band or project, because it's me and Robert Karlsson from Scar Symmetry that we're like a duo. And on the latest recordings, Steve Joachim from Zornheym is playing the drums, and I'm playing everything else. But I don't want it to steal time from Zornheym. That's
No.
my big baby that I need to take care of.
Yeah, that's your baby.
But yeah.
Yes. I was looking up on your profile on Metallum.
Oh, okay.
I usually do that. And when I went to past bands, you used to be in Dark Funeral.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
right.
fairly sure as well. Well, because the first time I saw Dark Funeral was 2013 at Bloodstock.
And then you probably saw
You
a
were in
blonde
the band then.
bass player.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay. So I have seen you, but you had hair back then.
Yeah, long blonde hair.
Yeah, because the picture that they got is you with long blonde hair and a
Yeah.
big beard.
Yeah.
So
was
yeah, I
me.
would have saw you then with the corpse paint and everything else. What was it like playing with Dark Funeral?
It was an interesting experience. I got to travel around the world. I mean, I played in South America, North America, Central America, Asia, Australia, and all kinds of places with them that I had never done before. So that was, of course, extremely cool and very rewarding. And but that's they have a couple of people that runs the band, and they've been doing it since they started. So it felt more like fulfilling someone else's vision, basically. So when we parted ways, I kind of took the opportunity to actually sit down and be like, I've had this awesome idea about making this big concept, where everything is going to take place at this mental asylum. And I really want to do something with it. So when we parted ways, I just decided that now is the time to actually do this. And I kind of decided that, I want to try and use real strings, real choirs, and everything, and just make it as bombastic and as awesome as I can. And then I just sat down and wrote and figure out how to compose for an orchestra, because I've had only written like one piano ballad, singer-songwriter ballad, that was backed up by a full string orchestra. So I had to figure that out, and then figure out how to actually write the concept and everything, and then I started doing that. But Dark Funeral, it was a cool experience, and yeah.
Yeah, because that band's been around for years.
Yeah,
Dark
a very
Funeral,
long time.
since when did they start? 93.
Yeah,
They've been a band for 30 years.
yeah,
Like long time, because you joined the band in 2011,
yes,
left in 2014.
yeah.
And I was going to mention a member of Dark Funeral, Black Moon, who of course passed away back in 2013.
Yeah, I think it was.
Necrophobic as one of the main bands he was in.
Yeah, great band.
Yeah, I love that band. Still haven't seen them live now. Still quite a lot of bands I still haven't seen live, but I will one day.
Yeah.
So yeah, to get on to the main band of tonight. Well, this afternoon is the afternoon here. Still is like nearly 5:30 here in the UK. So we're going to get on to what I've been saying. Zornheym. Is it pronounced Zornheim or Zornheim?
Zornheym is the name of the band, and then we spell it with an I when we refer to the asylum. So the band is actually called Zornheym, and then and you spell it with a Y.
Yeah,
and since the whole story and concept is taking place in Germany, we're spelling it with an I when we are referring to the asylum. That's why the latest album is called the Zornheym Sleep Experiment,
which I have here, which I bought at the festival.
Oh, awesome!
Which is not your usual CD case; it's more of a book. Still,
yeah,
really cool.
And that's why we actually picked that format, because we wanted to include so many details in the booklet, so we couldn't really settle with this small CD jewel case booklet, because that album, The Sleep Experiment, is actually you follow the whole sleep experiment during the album, and each song has like a specific hours of the experiment when it's taking place. And so you have like on the one side you have the lyrics, and then on the other side of the booklet you have like the session notes that the doctors have been taking notes during the hours that the songs when the song is taking place, basically during the experiment. So I think we've spent a lot of time on how to put everything together, the whole concept, and make the music and the lyrics to kind of marry each other. So it's going to be like a good flow with it. And like everything in the booklet, you have like designs of the sleep on the experiment chamber, and explanation. There's the booklet the booklet starts with the Dr. Beetleheim's statement of intent. There you have like images of the subjects that are going under the sleep experiment, and what they really want to get to know with the sleep experiment is what happens to the human body when you don't sleep. And they've taken they have this gas, and that's why the imagery is a lot with gas mask, because the subjects, they are forced to put gas masks on so they can inhale this adrenochrome gas from containers within the sleep experiment chamber. They actually call it the chamber where the sleep experiment is taking place. And in the beginning, they get like really paranoid, and they stop talking to each other. That's why a song is called Dead Silence, because they are not speaking to each other anymore, and they start seeing weird stuff within themselves. And basically, a lot of bad stuff happens during the experiment.
That's it's a cool concept. Because when I saw Sleep Experiment, I thought this is reminding me of a certain creepy pasta.
Yeah. It's
I had a feeling it had to do with that the Russian sleep experiment creepy pasta. That's what I
yeah.
was. That's what is that where that came from,
Yeah, it was actually when I
or
was doing
partly?
research for the first album, Where Hatred Dwells and Darkness Reigns. I came across
Yep.
that creepy pasta, and the the story was so cool
Yeah, it's
that I
creepy as hell.
yeah, and I felt like this could really have been an experiment conducted within the walls of Zornheym. So I'm gonna save this idea, and then when we did the first graphic novel um, for Where Hatred Dwells and Darkness Reigns, I made sure that we left this Easter egg where uh, Dr. Beetleheim is taking one of the inmates from the first album down to the sleep experiment chamber, and the whole graphic novel ends with him introducing her that you're going to participate in the sleep experiment, a pet project of mine, and yeah. So when we decided that, I also wrote this. I especially composed this outro thingy that's very dissection influenced, actually, on the acoustic guitar, and that's actually how the second album starts. So the
Yeah.
first and second album, they are kind of fused together. So when we've been on tour now, we usually have the outro of the first album as an intro, and then we kick everything off from
Yeah.
there. So basically, the outro of the first album is the intro to the second album, because everything we're gonna release are gonna be connected somehow.
Yeah, it's just one big concept, basically.
Yeah,
Concept, like one album and one story ends with the first album and then it goes into the next one, which
yeah.
is really cool. Yeah, because when I saw that, I thought, I'm pretty sure he got this from the Russian sleep experiment, but I don't want to ask. But
Of course.
I was just like, I didn't even have to guess. I just assumed it was that.
Yeah,
And well, you can see this guy right up here.
yeah.
So obviously, where's your vocalist? Well, obviously, I'm showing a picture of him when he had long hair. There he is.
Yeah.
But him coming on stage where we're now, I thought, okay, he's going to kill someone in a minute.
Yeah. Bendler is a great stage personality
Oh yeah,
and
and he's
a
got really
great singer.
yeah, great growls and screams and cleans. Because the first song I actually heard, because I think I played it on my own radio show that I have, or I might have heard it on my mate Jim's radio show.
Mm?
It's the fifth track, "Slumber Comes in Time."
Okay.
That's the first. That's the that's the first song I heard, because how it
Mm?
opens with the guitars, the orchestra bits, and then hearing him doing a growl and then a scream and then a growl, and then it comes in with cleans, and I thought, this is epic. like, and I looked up, I was like, what are these guys? Symphonic black death metal. I was like, okay, that explains a lot. And it works. I mean, I love the artwork here. This is
Mm?
really, really cool stuff. Uh Not sure who did the artwork now.
Let's see. Oh, this is so embarrassing.
Uh I got it right
Lord.
up, but I don't know how to say
Yeah.
it.
Um,
It's like ANU. I don't know how. I don't know what.
it's from Portugal, I think. Lordigan. The thing is, I see his name
Oh yeah, the cover art. Yeah,
um, as um, as a word image.
yeah,
Lordigan.
that's the one. Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
Yeah.
because he's done a
Oh,
lot
thank
of
you.
artwork.
Yeah, and he did the artwork for our first album, and he's gonna do the artwork for our third album. And he's gonna do it because he has done a great job for us so far, and I'm sure he's gonna do a even better job with the third album. And the thing is that we try and get our artwork to look more like movie posters, because you could basically see Zornheym as some sort of TV series where, you know, each album is like one episode of a TV series. So we work a lot with different graphic guys, like Jens Rydén from Tyr Thing. He's done all our he's taken all our promo pictures and done, you know, the big layout work for the album and taken all the pictures from that. So actually, if you turn around, pick up the album and turn it around and look at the backside of it, that's actually the two doctors, Beetleheim and Gutzmann. Sorry, it's been I'm working on the new album now, so I'm starting to lose the names. Looking, yeah, looking into the sleep experiment chamber through the eye, and the eye is this big circular window, and that's actually Jens that's been taking that
cool.
picture. Yeah, and all three of them are actually Jens from Tiffing. It's the same person.
Jeez. All right. Very busy there. Yeah, looking at the other guy's artwork that he's done, like artwork for other bands. One of them is actually a mate of mine's band called Anakim.
Okay.
He did the artwork for their first album, Monuments to Departed Worlds, which is a really great album. Came out in 2017.
Yeah.
Analepsy from Portugal, of course, is brutal death metal from Portugal.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of bands that he's done. Cerebral Refusion.
Yeah, and I mean, in Sweden, he takes a lot
sorts.
of promo pictures for a lot of bands, like Monegarm and yeah, a lot of death metal bands. Like I think it's done Demonical, Diabolical, and yeah, Unleashed, and you know, Marduk. So he's a very busy guy, and he's a very talented, both graphic guy and photographer, and of course a great vocalist and a great guy.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, I love this album.
Yeah,
I haven't heard the first one yet, because this is the first one I've properly heard.
Yeah,
but we'll get around to the first one.
The first one is more or less sold out, I think. So you have to be kind of lucky to get a copy of it.
Yeah.
we actually had two copies that we brought to Warhorns, and that was our two last CD copies that we had.
Only had enough for one.
But we sold them both on the first day, so now we're out of them again.
Yeah, well, I'll hopefully get one somehow.
Yeah.
Not sure how, but somehow. But I also got the T-shirt as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because I bought the T-shirt and that. And yeah, because you guys were the second to last band on, because the one headlining Warhorns was Gwydion on the Friday.
Yeah.
That was a great day. All right. You saying that you had some technical issues. Well, I think some bands would have had some, because I know our band did, because my vocals were louder than my mate's vocals, who's actually the lead vocalist in the band.
Oh,
I play bass and do vocals. Mine's not supposed to be as loud as his. It's supposed to be like, I don't know, half that. But
yeah.
you can still hear me like growl and scream. Well, I mainly do growls and tell people to bang their heads when it's appropriate to do so. He talks to the audience. We agreed. This is what we agreed. He talks to the audience. I just tell him to bang their heads or put the fists up in the air and go, hey, hey, or get your horns up or whatever. That's what we agreed. Because I spoke over him the last time. I have a habit of speaking over people, when I do apologize for
that. No worries.
Because I think of things and I got to get them out before I forget what they are. Yeah, your set at Warhorn. Yeah, sorry, I just did it again. Your set at Warhorns was just from start to finish, just intense.
I'm very happy with how the show turned out. My wireless battery died during like the second song or something like that. But I think I got some sort of world record of running backstage, putting in new batteries, and then running back up again. Because I think I sorted it out pretty fast, and the other guys were talking and cheering on the audience. But other than that, I think that it turned out really good, the show, and we got this great welcome from the wonderful people there at Warhorns, and I mean we recognize a bunch of people from when we played in 2019, but at the same time it felt like we played for a lot of people for the first time, and the line to the merch table was like never ending after our show. So we were extremely happy, and everyone was so nice and so kind, and really good people hanging there, like a good atmosphere, and the promoters were super nice. The food we got was great, and just the environment being close to a power station.
That's what I noticed the first time when we played there 2022 with Aventel. It was like that was like still winter time, so it was like early March. I saw it. There's a power station.
Yeah.
Okay. How more metal can you get?
Yeah, and I was like, I've never been so close to a power station, and when we were packing up our van after the gig, it was like the chimneys were like throwing out smoke like crazy, and it just felt so surreal.
Yeah, I swear that factory doesn't close for the night and people don't sleep in it. I don't think it's even people. I think it's just a bunch of androids. They're just not telling us. And I was like, okay, just sort of thought, well, here's a sports club, well, sports social club here in Tracks in not North Yorkshire. So north, I'm in the south.
Yeah.
Southwest, technically, well, southwest, west. I know where I'm from. And obviously my mate Alex is the lead vocalist in Aventel. Lives in Bristol, but he's from Leeds originally. So he's a northerner through and through. So when we got up to Yorkshire, got there, his accent just came back just like that. It literally came back like his Yorkshire dialect came back. I was like, oh, great, I got Yorkshire accent now. He's going to call me this and that and the other. Well, I'm going to play along and call him this, that, and the other. It's fine. Banter. You got to have some banter in the band.
Yeah.
You know. Because if you don't have banter in the band, then you're not really going to have a fun time going on tour or whatever.
No, and I mean that's why I'm so happy that we did Warhorns first, because that was such a great night, because
It's relaxing.
we had started traveling. I started traveling like 3:45 or something like that in the morning
Wow.
on Wednesday, and then I took the train to the place, to the station where the booker was gonna pick me up with the van, and then we basically drove down to Denmark to pick up the guys in Thy Kingdom Will Burn,
Oh, they were great.
and yeah, really great band and great lads as well. Really nice guys to tour with. And if you haven't heard them, make sure to go and check them out. The great melodic death metal.
Put them in the description below as Zornheym as well.
Yeah. And then we drove down to Germany and stayed one night there, and then we went to Rotterdam and took the ferry over from there. And then we slept in where whatever place we stranded at,
Wherever.
and yeah, since I'm not the one driving, I'm sitting there, wearing my headphones, sleeping on and off, maybe writing some lyrics or song ideas for the new album.
It was a long,
And
long journey. Got to do something.
yeah. And the first couple of days you're super focused. I think I wrote like three lyrics for the next album, and arranged a lot of stuff, and thought about some really clever stuff to do for the next album. But after a couple of days, when you get like sleep deprivation and late nights and early mornings, then you just sit there and get your vulture's neck.
As you do. Well, because me and Alex, because we were the only two members of a band that actually camped. The other guys came up on the day they were playing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And a lot of them had like work the next day, so they had to go back. But me and Alex were like, yeah, we're going to stay here. We didn't go, one night, we didn't go to bed until about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Other nights, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I think the other night, I think was close to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's a festival. You can stay up and party, and because you're at a festival, you're there to have fun. You're there to meet up with people, because I met a lot of them when we played there back in 2022.
Yeah.
And a lot of them someone like, I missed your band last time because I couldn't get up. I was like, well, we were meant to play the summer one last year, but we couldn't do it because we couldn't find time to meet up and rehearse. But Alex still went. But I went to London for UK Death Fest to see Autopsy for the first time.
Oh, okay.
As well as going on back into Swedish metal, Sacramentium, or is that how you say it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, or Sacrament. I don't know. I say Sacramentium. Someone correct me. But they were really cool because I knew who they were, and I recognized one of their albums. And I thought, yep, I know this band. And then I looked at the vocalist of that band. I was like, this guy is rocking a serious skullet. And not very many men in the metal scene or in general can pour off a skullet.
No.
I think they got to have the right shaped head. I don't know, but but yeah, getting back to Zornheym. What were the first lot of shows like for the band? How did people react to it?
Like the first shows we ever did, or
like like when you first started playing live and people saw the concept of it, and what did people think?
Yeah, we actually started. The first show we did was at Motoculture in in France. I don't remember if it was 2000 and probably 2017, and that was like our first show, and we played for a couple of thousand people, and our first album, Where Hatred Dwells and Darkness Reigns, wasn't even released.
Wow.
So we had this deal with our label that we could sell the album at the merch table because it was going to be released. I think it was like a couple of weeks later. So we actually released an extra single on YouTube, Whom the Night Brings, just because we were doing that big show. And we had this signing session after the gig, and it showed up so much people. And I kind of told the other guys that you can't expect anything because we released 2 singles, so we have to be very sober about this. It might be 3 guys and showing up wanting us to sign something or something like that, but the line was like enormous, and we sold so much fucking merch that day, and we were so blown away. And after that, France has been like almost like our second home. That's after cool. That gig. So always when we play in France, we usually have a good turnouts and a lot of people showing up that have been following us for a couple of years now. So we see people with different, t-shirts designs. That was the shirt we had for that tour and stuff like that. So I mean, I couldn't be happier with how everything started, but the amount of stress that I felt because I hadn't done like a professional show. I think the last show I did was like 2013 at Summer Breeze with Dark Funeral. That was the last show I did, and back then I was playing bass, and now I was going to play lead guitar on songs that I've never played live. So my stress levels, they were extremely high for that gig. And then and then when we saw all the people showing up, I think there's actually a couple of clips from that gig on our YouTube channel if people are curious. But it was insane, to say the least. And the year after, we did our first European tour, and ever since then we've been trying to get out and play as much as possible. And it's some people that are showing up, that they are really inmates, as we call our audience. We call them inmates because we are part of the asylum. And they are really inmates, and some people have just heard a couple of songs and I'm gonna go and check this band out. But usually they kind of grasp that there's some sort of concept or something going on. Right now we don't have the big budgets yet, where we can have like a string quartet and maybe actors and all kinds of weird shit going on to really invite the crowd into the asylum. But we're trying with the stuff that we have, like vendors switching different clothes to be different inmates and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, it worked at Warhorns. I mean, he came on wearing the white coat and the mask, and I thought, how the hell is he seeing out that? And also, how's he going to do his vocals? It's like, okay, it works. I thought it'd be muffled or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just came on and I looked at him and thought, okay, this guy's built like a. We got a saying for someone who's like muscular, built like a brick shit house because he looks like he goes to the gym quite a lot.
He goes to the gym quite a lot.
Hence why he's so. And another word, hench.
Yeah.
And he was nice to chat to after the gig. All you guys were really cool because you got one member who's not Swedish at all but lives in Sweden, and
Yeah.
that's your guitarist Alan.
Yeah.
I can't.
Or
I know he's got a stage name. What's his stage name?
Skuka.
Yeah, I didn't know how to say that. How do you say it? Skuka.
Skuka.
Okay. I didn't want to say it because I'm like, because I'm still trying to learn Swedish.
No, it's not a
It's not Swedish,
Swedish
but still,
thing.
any language
Uh,
I'm trying to learn.
yeah, he told me a long time ago the story about the name, I think, but I don't remember it now at the moment. But I'm sure that he's going to be happy to tell you everything
But
about it.
when I get a chance to chat with him, because I'm not only am I following the band on Instagram, I'm following you on Instagram, and I'm also following him on Instagram, so I can
Yeah,
ask
and
him later or something.
he's he's Irish, so he's a very chatty guy.
Yeah, yeah,
And very very nice.
yeah. I spoke to him. I was like, he doesn't sound Swedish. He's Irish,
No.
but he said, "Oh no, I'm from Ireland, but I live in Sweden." It's like,
Yeah.
that's cool. Well, because I got Irish, just how I just said it, and you can tell I got the ancestry in those parts on
Mm.
both sides of my family, just how I said Irish.
Yeah.
Because of that, so I thought I can get on with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a pretty easygoing guy
Yeah,
to
he's really cool, really cool, really
hang
cool
out
guy,
with.
really cool guy to
Yeah.
chat with. And I actually been to Sweden. Went in 2019 because I went to Scandinavia Death Fest because
Okay, cool.
this member reformed. I thought,
Yeah.
let's buy ticket now. So I bought a ticket for that. Not only were they playing, but unanimated Benediction came back with David Ingram on vocals, which was really cool. Who else was there? Interment.
Yeah.
I know there's more Swedish bands.
Yeah.
Grave were there. Grave were there.
Yeah.
Of course, Finnish bands like Pertinence, Demolict, Rotten Sound. But to the Swedish bands, Birdflesh.
Yeah. They are
Those guys are
funny.
great. They're funny.
Yeah, yeah.
They're heavy.
I've actually played with them at the motorcycle club with my crust band, Active Dödshjälp. So I know that they are very friendly guys too, and they play great music.
Yeah, because when I was there, because I watched, because I caught maybe like the last minute or whatever about what they're grindcore death metal. So
yeah,
short songs. I caught like maybe the last two songs. I thought, well, late to a grindcore band, pretty much missed every set because every song
yeah,
the last two songs. But when I was walking around there, I saw the vocalist from Zornheym walking around.
Ah,
he
Eric.
was walking around, but I didn't say hello because he looked like he was on a mission. But yeah, I'd love to go back to Sweden because Stockholm's very expensive. I found that out.
Yeah,
The amount of beer I was buying. I was like, yeah, it'll be all right. And it's like, oh crap. But no, it's love Sweden. Love to go back again.
Yeah, I think it's great. And Stockholm is really nice.
But yeah, Stockholm's really nice. Still many other places I need to go. There's a pirate folk band I listen to called Ye Banished Privateers.
Okay.
They're dress up like pirates, basically. Ye Banished Privateers. They live in a place called Umeå.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a bit Further north.
North. Yeah.
Yeah, more north because they get a lot of snow. What I've seen from a mate of mine who posts a lot of pictures of the outside of his house, and it's always covered in snow during the winter.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they got all the snow, but then sometimes down here in Bristol you get snow, but sometimes it doesn't last very long,
No.
depending
And
how cold it is.
and they actually have a great indoor festival up in Umeå called House of Metal. So we played there one year, and that year, it was like Nocturnal Rites and Meshuggah
Oh yes.
playing, and all kinds of cool bands. So if you're planning a trip to Umeå, it might be a cool idea to make it coincide together with that festival.
Well, now I know about it, I'm going to go to it.
Yeah.
Well, because I saw Meshuggah actually at Bloodstock back in August. They were headlining, and they haven't been at that festival since 2010. And they
But
were.
Didn't you say that you saw me in 2013?
2013 with Dark Funeral.
Yeah. But was that at Bloodstock or
Bloodstock? You on the main stage?
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, because I was meant to go watch another band in the new Blood stage, which is if you're on stage, you'll see it on your right.
Yeah.
But then for some reason that band didn't play. It was Warpath from Ireland.
Oh, okay.
That's as I mentioned, your guitarist who's from Ireland but lives in Sweden. And I thought, oh, and I saw over there, I was like, oh, Dark Funeral's on, and I haven't seen them live yet, and I've been into them for quite a long time. Let's go watch them, and yeah, you guys were great, and the sun was blazing,
blasting. Yeah.
I thought this is not right for black metal at all. Like at all. It's like play more aggressive and the sun will go away.
Yeah.
But what else was I going to say about the Zornheym? Yeah, have you got any more shows planned for this year, or is that it for now?
We're actually playing in Germany again next weekend. We're doing on the 29th. We're doing a gig in Hamburg at Bambi Galore, and then we're on Saturday the 30th. We're playing at Coast Rock Festival, and I don't know when you're gonna publish this, but on the 29th we are gonna release something new and cool for everyone. Awesome. And we're gonna post some sort of teaser about it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, so, I'll be posting this after I've done the chat, and then I can link the teaser in the description below, which will be cool.
Yeah,
can do that. Got to support bands. I mean, I've been supporting metal since I was about 11 years old, so I'm 31 now. I'll be 32 in November. So that's not going to change anytime soon. I've been, like I said, been a metalhead for that long.
Yeah.
I'll be one until I'm no longer on this planet. So
and I feel pretty much the same thing.
But yeah, well, what was that festival you said that you're playing?
Coast Rock Festival, and that's a festival in Germany as well. So we're doing like 2 shows next weekend, and then we're gonna focus more or less solely on the new album that we're working on. We have recorded the drums, and in November we're gonna record guitars and bass and acoustic guitars and 12-string guitars and use Ebo and all kinds of weird shit.
Oh yeah, 12-string guitar as in the acoustic one, or the electric guitar I don't know about.
It's going to be a 12-string acoustic, and we've used it. We actually used 12-string acoustic guitar on the Sleep Experiment as well for some parts. It
Yeah,
sounds like in Keep the Devil Away, and
that's a great song. Love that song.
oh, thank you. It really makes the acoustic parts pop when you know you have like one clean electric guitar and a bunch of acoustic guitars, and then you add a 12-string guitar. It's always like a small guitar as orchestra playing
Yeah,
when we're
because
recording.
that's what I noticed when I first heard your band. When I heard Slumber in Time, Slumber Comes in Time. I was going to call it something else. I'll just say Slumber in Time. Slumber Comes in Time. Heard the guitar, heard the orchestra. I thought, I wonder if they bring an orchestra with them. And then I saw you at Warhorns, like, oh, good, because how am I going to fit an orchestra on that stage? Because I've seen bands do that. Obviously, Metallica did
Yeah.
it. Skalmold did that in Iceland because Icelandic, they had an orchestra play with them when they were playing live. I think that would work for you guys.
Yeah, I mean that's the end game of Zornheym is to, have a whole spectacle going on where we have like a small choir, we have like a string quartet, like a small brass section, and maybe even actors doing stuff on stage. We have so many plans that we really want to fulfill with this band, and we're gonna do them or at least die trying. So,
Well, if it ever happens, and I'm like, you know what? And it's in court, and wherever it is in Sweden, I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing. I'm coming over to Sweden and watch that.
yeah, I really hope that we can get a place where we can, because when we are writing our music, it's I make like the basic orchestral arrangement, and then I go over to Skugga, and me and him sit and finalize it together, and then he writes down, the score and everything. So we have the orchestral score, because since we are working with real violin players and
Nice.
cello players and viola players, they need to have proper written score. So we have everything, and it's the same with when we do the choir as well, that we have everything written down, all words and all the notation and everything for it. And it's always fun, because when we're recording with the male choir, they're always like, nah, I don't need any notation, I just need to hear it. And then with the ladies, it's always like, yeah, notation is good, then I can see it, and I can plan my my vocal lines. So we have everything. So we only need an orchestra and a bigger name. So we'll have a lot of people showing up. But I mean, that's why I'm doing stuff like this, talking with you. That's why we're trying to be as accessible as possible. We never sit down and hide in the backstage after a show. We always go out and try and represent the band, and try and, I mean, that's half of the joy, to meet new interesting people, get to know stuff about their town or city, get recommendations with new music and stuff like that, and just in general hang out and get to be an ambassador for Zornheym, and hopefully people care a little bit more after they met us live.
Yeah, because like you said earlier on, that after you play, you just got a line of people line up to not only buy merch, but to meet you guys afterwards. And oh yeah, that's what that literally, because for Avril, our vocalist got off stage, went to the merch table. Someone needed to demand it because we didn't bring anyone with us.
Oh,
Because we
crap.
have a metal cover of a Irish jig
Yeah.
called the Swallowtail jig.
Yeah.
So, and there's only me, the two guitarists, or female vocalist slash violin player, and a drummer on stage. And was like, and he just swapped cameras, magic.
Yeah, I just realized that the lighting, it's getting dark.
Oh, it's
We're
getting
in
darker
Sweden.
though. Still kind of light out here, but it's grey and cloudy. You can't really tell because it's bright.
I'll put some lights on so people, if they're interested, can actually see me.
But it's that was that. So it was like, and then a lot of people just went to our merch store, like they did for
Yeah.
you. I was like, damn, people really enjoyed our set, and they enjoyed your set, and yeah, and for good reason, because it, like I said earlier, it was intense, it was heavy, and it was just that's it.
Yeah, we really try and give, everything when we're playing live. And it's a different thing than when you're in the studio,
Oh yeah,
where you're sitting down and you have several takes, but you don't want to stand there on stage and be like, am I gonna mess this part up? I mean, people are there to see a show, so you have to give them a show.
oh yeah, definitely.
And if that means that you mess up some riffs or something like that, then so be it. I mean, people know that we can play the stuff, but there's a different beast to play, with holding the guitar like this, than
Right,
to sit down and have like the right posture and everything, and play it like that.
yeah, that's like I say, it's different in studio and in live. Like
Yeah.
when you hear it live, it's like because you always hear it. Like you hear people saying, "Oh, they sound better live than they do on record."
Mhm.
You know, and obviously, like I'm quoting a member from Boltfur here, Gavin Towers. He said in an
Yeah.
interview back in like '93 when he was on tour with Grave, when Boltfur was on tour with Grave and Vader, talking
Yeah.
about technical death metal bands back in the day making all these great records. And then when they play live, he said, well, I'm quoting him, he said they play live and they're shit because they can't reproduce it live.
Yeah.
What they put on the record is like, sounds great on record, but how are you going to reproduce that live? And what I liked about Bolt Thrower and also your band, you can actually reproduce what you do live because you've got the orchestra bits on a backing track.
Yeah.
Some bands I hear, I'm like, either I don't know if it's like the venue, they got bad sound, or I hear a band like, yeah, I don't know about this band anymore, or I didn't know about this band in the first place, and I hear them live, I'm like, yeah, not my thing, you know.
Yeah, yes. Sometimes you have to give them, a second chance, because it might be something weird is going on with the PA, or
Yeah,
a bad sound day in general.
yeah, I've done that with
Because
bands.
yeah,
But I'm like, I go
so
watch them first time, don't know, and then I see them again, like, giving a game a second chance because they're fucking great.
yeah,
You
or
know?
like, now I recognize this song. This is actually very good.
Yeah, like I was going to say, my two favorite tracks from this album, obviously, "Slumber Comes in Time" and "Keep the Devil Away," especially when
Ah,
it's
cool.
really heavy and then it goes into like that piano bit and your hench vocalist doing his cleans going, "Keep the
Bendler.
devil away." It's like this okay, I was like, that's kind of haunting because I watched the music video and obviously he had
Mhm.
his long hair still, and he just looked creepy as hell in the
Yeah,
video because
his
how the camera and the lighting got his face. Just
yeah, and that's another thing that we want to do with our music videos, that we want that to be another thing in our concept, basically. So the Keep the Devil Away music video is, what's going on inside one of the inmates head that's participating in the sleep experiment, how he sees himself, and his inner demons, and how he sees the professor, Dr. Beetleheim, as the devil, being the devil that has conducted and locked all the subjects within the sleep experiment chamber. And that song is actually one of the inmates begging the assisting Dr. Gutzman to, you can pull the plug on this project. Just let us out. We don't want to be inside here anymore.
let us out,
Because,
please.
yeah, but he's standing his ground and waiting for Beetleheim, who's not the most um, he doesn't have a lot of sympathy for his inmates. He's more driven to find out uh, the different ideas that he has for his different studies and stuff, that and experiments that he's doing, basically. So he's for sure the bad cop, and Gutzman is trying to be the good cop.
Yeah, he's like, what I'm getting from that, yeah, is like he's trying to be like, yeah, these guys have suffered enough. Let's get them out. But and the other one's like, no,
No, I'm not done
I got to
here.
keep them here. We need results. It's like, but they're dying. And obviously going back to the Russian sleep experiment, like obviously they open the chamber at the end of the story and they see that one of them's still alive, says like this long speech, which I try to remember at the top of my head, and then he dies.
Yeah.
That's a really great concept. I just like when I like obviously I'm going to repeat myself. Saw the title and I thought it's very similar.
Yeah, it's I mean, what I basically did was that I took that general idea and
And then put it in
molded it,
metal.
yeah, in the Zornheim universe, because I thought the idea, I actually think I stumble it on. I follow this guy that's doing something called Top Five on YouTube, and he
Oh, I
has
know.
like a series that's like top five documentaries or something like that.
Oh,
And
I
then
know what you're on about. Yeah,
yeah, and then I saw this documentary and was like blown away with the imagery and everything about it, and it just felt like this is gonna I'm really gonna be able to just take this and do my twisted thing out of it, and then put it in the Zornheim universe,
yeah,
and it's gonna work
your own
perfectly.
twisted version of it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It works.
Yeah, I think with the whole concept and the imagery and everything, it turned out to be a really cool concept, and
Yeah,
we are going to release a graphic novel version of it,
yeah,
where
yeah. You told me about that at Warhorns that you were doing a
yeah,
graphic novel.
yeah, and that one is coming out very, very soon, and then that's basically going to be the last piece of the puzzle, where you can follow the graphic version of the graphic novelization of the whole concept, where the whole comic book basically starts with Dr. Beetleheim putting the final touches on the statement of intent that you find in the beginning of the booklet, and then he goes down and gives the order to instigate the experiment, and then you just get to follow it from different times and see what's going on. So just like with the first album, that's going to be a great opportunity for the listener to actually get the graphic novel and then put on the album and actually follow what's going on the album in the graphic novel, basically. Because like some stuff is quoted from the lyrics, and there's a lot of Easter eggs baked into everything, so you're going to be able to find cool references from the lyrics in the graphic novel, and then when you add reading the session notes, you're going to see how much work we have put into everything with behind this album, and that's why I'm so really proud of this album. I think it turned out way above my expectation, and the feeling that I have for the third album now, with how the storyline and everything is coming together, it feels like we're gonna level up even more, because we had so many cool ideas left to explore and experiment with for after we had done the sleep experiment album.
I can't wait to hear the new album. I want to ask what the title's called, but don't want to give too much away of it, if you don't want to give too much away.
Right now it's going under the name of Zornheym 3 because
Zornheym 3.
yeah, but that's not a final title, because I have a couple of track names so far, and we're gonna have this really epic track that's the Deep Below for the new album, and that's probably our biggest and most epic song that we've done so far. I'm really happy with how that one is turning out, and there's some guitar parts that I need to write, because we did some writing actually in the studio, where when we were recording the drums, I got some really epic ideas that we have to do this, and I'll figure it out when you give me the drum files, but it's going to be so majestic, and that song, I'm really looking forward to release that one, and there's a bunch of songs that can't wait to release and of course play live.
That'd be cool.
But there's I think maybe half of the lyrics is written. What I did with this album was that I wrote like a short story, basically. That's the whole album, and because that worked so well with the Zornheym sleep experiment, where I had this, the Russian sleep experiment as a foundation to look at and take inspiration from. And now with the new album, I did that myself. So I wrote like a short story, what everything is going to be about in Swedish, and then I'm just taking out, this song is going to be about that part, and this song is going to be about that part, and then I had to write like this big thing that you would understand before the album. So there's like this huge document where I've written a lot of different stuff just to understand the concept of everything. And now everything is coming together with small intermezzo's and like a really cool intro for the album. And I can't wait to start record guitars and everything because I'm really excited about that album.
Yeah, it's sounding awesome just by what you're saying.
Oh, thank
I
you.
can't actually wait to hear it now. It was like, can it be out now? That's
Yeah,
what I'm hoping for.
that's that's the downside with doing it the way we are doing it with using it takes so long time for us to make albums. I'm very happy that between the first and the second album it took 4 years.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and
Well, it's not too
I,
long, but still.
yeah, but it is too long with today's measurements. So
Oh yeah.
I panicked a little bit when I realized that okay, it's going to take this amount of time. But now I've cut down everything, so now we're down at 3 years. Yeah, I'm guessing that the third album is going to be out in about a year or something like that.
Oh, cool.
You always have to leave when you leave the master tape and everything, then the label needs like 3 months to do proper promotion and everything like that. So it's not like when you get the USB stick from the studio, it's like we're not going to release it tomorrow because we have to do proper promotion and
Yeah.
showcase it to media and everything like that. So that always also puts on a lot of extra weight for it. But the plan is, I hope that for the fourth album, I might be able to cut it down for maybe 2.5 years or something like that. Because I'm always working on making things smoother and refining the process of composing and everything. I actually started with this third album with having like some sort of writer's block where
It happens.
because everyone is like, oh, now we're going to do the third album, it's going to be your Master of Puppets, and that album did quite well. So
Yeah. Well, Master of Puppets
yeah.
was been out since 1986. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been doing quite well. Let's leave it at that.
Still doing
So, yeah, still doing well, especially after that Stranger Things series that
Oh yeah. They
had.
played the bloody title track. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got to this point where I just no idea what's good enough. But then I started going down to Bendler, our singer, and we started doing stuff. Not he kind of recorded my ideas, and we got this direct conversation where I had a riff and he instantly said, that's a good verse, I can sing on that. Instead, like we did on the previous two albums, where I recorded the riffs and I sent them to him, and then he presented an idea, and it was good, but it wasn't great, and then we had to communicate online, but now we started actually meeting up where I could immediately go, yeah, that's a great vocal idea, but could you maybe do it like this instead? And then he did that, and then the flow just went
Yeah.
from that.
It does, and
Yeah.
and that's always good because for Avrington, we're getting our mate, my mate Alex, our mate John back into the band because he was in the band years ago because we had lineup problems as a band.
Yeah,
But he's coming back in and he's just been sending stuff to us. Like he's recorded and he's just sent it
yeah,
to us. And one song he's just done. I'm not gonna we actually haven't got a name for it. He's just sent it and it just sounds really, really epic. It's
yeah,
just an absolute banger of a track, as someone would say in the UK, a banger of a track.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely like I can't wait to actually put some bass on this. When we actually record an album because we got our
Yeah.
EP, The Throne of Evil, which we don't have any physical CDs yet. Hopefully at some point, fingers crossed. But yeah, like you've been, because I think when I looked at Bendler's Metallum, I think he plays guitar as well in a band.
Yeah. That's actually how I knew him as a guitar player. So when I was putting Zornheym together, I didn't even know that he was a vocalist really. Well, I had seen him doing like guest vocals for a show with Scar Symmetry when Robert couldn't do
Yeah, that's
that
right.
show. So, and then all of a sudden, because finding members today is like really, really tricky. Because especially in Sweden, where everyone has already half a dozen band. So then I suddenly realized one day when I was, looking for a vocalist, that didn't that Richard guy, didn't he do like guest vocals for Scar Symmetry? And then I looked up some clips on YouTube, and he sounded and looked great on stage. And so I wrote him basically the same day, I think, and just asked him. I sent him like 50-second snippets of A Silent God, and I told him like, yeah, can you put vocals on this? And you're gonna sing it like this. I had like a demo track recorded, and he did, and it just sounded like this is the kind of vocals that I need to have on this song and on this album. So I immediately asked him like, can we have a phone call? Because he's a couple of years older than me, so we knew about each other, but we didn't really know each other when I was living in Finspång. My band back then used to open for his band
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But back then he played guitar, so I was pretty new to this thing that he was a vocalist, and he told me that that's what I want to do, and I want to do this kind of concept thingy that you're telling me that Zornheym is going to be about. So this sounds like the ideal match for me, and luckily we hit it off very well personally on a personal level as well, and we're um, yeah, we work very well together, like I do with all of the guys in the band. So it's a real pleasure to be in the studio working with the guys.
Yeah, that's awesome because I've been because as well as playing pagan folk now for
Yeah,
average back to that, I've been sending like over melodies on my bouzouki because I've got bouzouki,
yeah,
and we're gonna add that into obviously the metal stuff, and we're gonna do some folk stuff. So we got some folkier things, and yeah, I work really well with Alex, and I'm gonna work a lot. We're gonna work well with John because we know him.
yeah. That's
And
great.
he's an absolute shit hot guitar player. I'm not just saying that because he's a friend of mine. I'm saying that because he genuinely is. And
I believe you.
also say that word again. You're also a shit hot guitarist because
Oh, thank you very much.
you're welcome. Because your guitar work on this album is great. I haven't heard the first one, so I can't judge. But I know on here it's awesome. Both
Oh,
guitars, and I'm not just saying that because you're on my chat. I generally mean that. I generally mean that because someone might think who knows me is like, oh, you're just saying that because he's on your chat. I know. I'm generally saying I am. No, I'm not just saying that because he's on my chat. I actually mean it. Your guitar work is just it's better than mine. That's just I can't do solos. I can't do sweep solos or anything like that. I can just do the rhythm section. So
I've worked really hard on trying to get my own sound and style because there are, a lot of guitar players that are more technical, advanced than I am. But I usually Bendler and other people tells me like, yeah, that's Zornheym. That's you, basically. And I think there's a baby here that wants to go to bed.
We'll be finishing up pretty soon anyway. I was going to ask about the bass player situation. Do you actually have a bass player in the band? Because I didn't see one at the show because I saw on the Metallic page that in the live musicians it says you got one.
No, we actually don't have one. And he was booked. It was actually the guy from Craft.
I saw them at UK Death Fest.
Yeah, great Swedish black metal band. And he was supposed to do the first gig at Multiculture, but he had to cancel because of stuff came that he hadn't planned. So he had to turn down the offer last minute. So he never came, and then we put the bass. I record the bass in the studio, and we put it on the backing tracks, and that just worked out for us, and we've been doing it since then, because it's convenient in the current situation where we are, where we can travel light and bring as much merch and make it as smooth as possible for us. I mean, once we climb a couple of steps on the ladder, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have a live bass player. Not sure that we're gonna bring in another member, or if it's only gonna be like a live session thingy.
Just for live shows, basically.
Yeah, something like that. Because I'm pretty happy with it being us four, but at the same time,
because it does work.
If we find like this perfect guy or a girl that just feels perfect, then of course we're gonna have to offer them a permanent spot. But so far, then you can't pass down on it. But other than that, it feels like there's a lot of movement on the stage already. So
especially from Bendler, he does all the moving.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, he probably does cardio at the gym. He doesn't do it at the gym. He does it when he's on stage. It's like, that's his cardio, not the gym stuff. Yeah. That's his cardio. Okay. But yeah, because he does a lot. Because he's very active on stage.
Yes.
Very active.
He is. And we really like big stages. Like we played a Swedish festival this summer called Skogsröjet, where actually we Blind Guardian played as well. And
awesome band.
Yeah, and we played on like we opened up the festival on the big stage, and that was like the biggest stage we've played so far. So we had a lot of chance to do some running around there.
Well, if the stage is that big, do it.
Yeah.
because the
That's what
stage
we
at
did.
Warhorns obviously is a lot smaller, so you're
Yeah.
limited to. He was limited to what he could do, but he still made it work.
Yeah.
Warhorns is an awesome festival all around,
Yeah, it is.
and the people
So,
are lovely.
so yeah, lovely people, lovely organization, and I really hope that we can come back and play there again.
Yeah, I hope you guys come
And
back
yeah,
to the UK in
it's
general.
yeah, I think kicking UK off with Warhorns was great for
That
us,
was
and I
the,
hope we
oh,
can
yeah, definitely.
do that next time as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool because because you played there 2019. You guys went down well that year. You went down well this year, and then I saw clips from when you played Bristol because John, who owns the pub, films
Yeah.
films bits of the bands and puts them on his Instagram. So I see on the story. So I
Ah,
saw
okay, cool.
Thy Kingdom Will Burn bits of their set and then bits of your set, and I'm like, because I thought again going back to your scene doing a lot of moving on stage. I don't think he did a
Yeah.
lot that night.
No, that was a
It's a
pretty
tight
tight show.
room. You can only fit like 50
Yeah.
people in terms of audience, but I've seen close to 100 in that room.
Mm,
Close to 100. And my band played there back with the opening band that played Warhorns as well, War Shepherd.
okay.
Played with them at the Griffin with Battleborn back in May.
Okay.
Really good band. Check them out.
Yeah.
If you're into your power metal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like power metal?
Yeah,
Metal.
yeah, yeah.
And War Shepherd are melodic death
Mm,
from Plymouth, Devon way.
okay.
So they're south band, south of England.
Mm.
So before we end this chat, because I've got a thing you got to go do some stuff. Is there anything you would like to say to any of your fans who may be watching this once it's up?
If there's any listeners or viewers from Germany, make sure to check us out in Hamburg next Friday and at Coast Rock if you can. Other than that, if you haven't heard about Zornheym and you think my rambling here sounds interesting, please go and check us out. I think we have something cool to offer, and it's highly professional recorded music, and we put all the hours in the production, and nothing is left to chance. There's like brilliant artwork. We work with the best people there. The sound is killer. We work with the best people there as well. The musicians that we're working with, they are excellent. So everything is extremely well packed. And if you're into catchy, melodic, extreme symphonic death, heavy metal, then go and give it a chance. Because I mean, on the contrary from King Diamond, we never leave the concept and jump to the next one. We stay in the same world and we like it there. So come and join us in the depths below.
That's absolutely that's amazing. I fucking love that. So yeah, join them in their asylum. They're the doctors, were their patients, and basically, that's a very awesome concept. And I like to thank Zorn for coming on the chat. Absolutely, absolute pleasure to have you on here.
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much for having me and for your interest in the band. And
awesome.
It was very nice to chat with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was great to chat with you first online social media, and then finally getting you at the festival.
Yeah, that was great.
That was cool because I thought I need to actually talk to him when he gets here, and I was like, oh, I should get a picture of him. Completely forgot.
Oh shit, we did.
I should have like, hey, picture with next person I'm going to have on my chat, because I try to do a lot of these chats, but most people are busy like touring or recording or both, or family lives, in which I totally understand. You got to do that, but
Yeah.
it's not a total loss for this channel. I got a lot of CDs and vinyl and tape cassettes to show, and band recommendations. I'll recommend a band to you before I end this. Moon Reaper.
Okay. Please send the recommendations
they're a Bristol band.
Hmm?
I'll send. Sorry, I was going to say I'll send them over on like Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, you can't.
And if anyone is interested in knowing more about us, they can always hit me up on Instagram or on
Put it all down
the
below.
band.
So
yeah. So and I'm happy to answer everyone's questions when I have time for it.
Of course, he's a busy man. He's got Zornheym, or Zornheym, however you prefer to pronounce the band. He's got his kids, and he's a family man who plays metal.
Yeah.
So he doesn't answer your question straight away. Don't be offended.
No.
So, but yeah, Moon Reaper, they're a Bristol band.
Oh,
and
cool.
how they're described on their Facebook is blackened, doomed hardcore.
Okay. Interesting.
You have to listen to it to make your own opinion, but to me, they're just a really heavy band. Not saying that because they're friends of mine. They are a really great band. They played Bloodstock and the new Bloodstage back in August on the Friday. That
cool.
set went really well. I'm seeing them on Friday at a venue here in Bristol. So
okay.
Yeah, so to end it, this has been Zorn of Zornheym, or Zornheim, however you prefer to pronounce the band. I say Zornheim because that's how I've been saying it. Want to know more about the band? I have his Instagram down there, the band's Instagram down there, links to Facebook, YouTube. Don't know if you have Twitter. Most bands do. Twitter.
We do.
I'll put everything down there.
Bandcamp, maybe.
Everything down there, Bandcamp, and just to keep updates on when the new album's coming out, any teasers on new tracks, like they're putting out singles beforehand. Most bands do that. And that's about it. Thank you for tuning in. I've been Jacob Jake's Metal Chat. He's been Zorn of Zornheim. Keep the banner of metal held high, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you very much.
Cheers.